Hello everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and today is a sad day for me, but it could be a pretty sweet day for you. This is going to be part 2 of my spring cleaning. Yes, unfortunately I am moving a lot of knives out of my collection. I never really had a huge collection to begin with, but for my channel, as small as it is, to progress, I do struggle with finding content, and I try to make a different type of content here and there. I'll do sharpening and disassembly and comparison and real world use application videos, and not just do the run-of-the-mill tabletop review. I do a lot of that, of course, but that's because honestly that's what gets the most amount of views and interaction from you guys. Customization videos, they don't do too great. If I'm doing something like a kitchen knife review and I make a meal or show myself like cooking and that kind of stuff, I'm talking the worst view count and interaction possible. But I still do it because it makes me happy to make that kind of content, and it's there for anybody who cares. Besides that whole rant, let's start showing off some of the stuff that's going to be up for grabs very soon on Blade Binge. All the listings are made, but they are not public yet. Once you see this video, they will be made public. So you'll have a chance to go over and snag them. Prices have been already set, but I do not have them immediately available. I will be linking down a link to every single listing, so you can just click and go. I have recently been granted an affiliate link with Blade Binge for their marketplace and their storefront as well. So that is just another way for me to continue to make content in the form of posts, and you'll be seeing more stuff like that in the very near future. Every little bit helps, especially in this hobby, because as I'm sure a lot of you guys know, this is a very expensive hobby, and what you guys are seeing here is a good chunk of money that's really just sitting here and collecting dust in my collection. Now, I love all these knives except for that one. Rightfully so. If you've seen my content on this, I wasn't happy with it, but I'm more than willing to get it the hell away from me for, a reasonable amount of money. I think at this point, these might be out of stock because Metal Complex, the guy makes one video and then things just sell like that. So here's your opportunity to buy one in pretty decent condition for a significant discount than buying one brand new, and with a fresh edge, which is arguably better than factory, of course. So let's go ahead. I know this is nice and shiny and you guys want to see this, but we're going to set this off to the side real quick. We're going to talk about the more budgetier ones. I suppose this one as well, but this one has a lot of customization to it. So this right here, you can see it is a little odd looking. This is actually a Kaiser Coniferous V. This was recently discontinued, I believe towards the end of last year or the beginning of this year. I can't remember when I bought the damn thing, but I've had a good time with it realistically. And I wouldn't mind keeping this knife because it's so amazing to use and sharpen and fidget with, but I can't justify keeping it when I have so many other things that are just a little bit better than it. So what I've done here is I've done a flipper tab delete and an enlarged forward finger choil. There is a very laid back edge, and it looks rather wide and large because this knife is kind of meant for harder use. It is a little bit thicker behind the edge, but with having that 17 to 18 degree cutting bevel there, this thing absolutely performs for sure, and it has a good bit of meat out to the tip. I haven't had to remove a lot of material. Everything is going to come freshly cleaned and with a fresh edge, and that's one of the biggest things that I don't see a lot of people doing when they sell stuff on Blade Binge, is that if they're selling something used, if you are a reputable individual and people know you in the community for being a decent to great sharpener. Now, I can't say that that's the reputation I hold, but I at least want to share with people that I'm pretty good at sharpening with my system that I have. I use a Wicked Edge sharpening system, and I get damn near perfect edges on it every single time. I love using the thing, for sure. So I'm able to get pretty successful, very clean, uniform edges on my stuff, and definitely a whole lot better than what would be a factory edge. Now, this has seen a lot of use. All of these knives have been used and will not be sold at, you know, brand new prices, because these aren't brand new knives anymore. These have been carried and not tossed around, but properly used. This has some light marks and stuff, a little bit on the clip, a little bit on the tie side here. All the hardware is in great condition. The clip hasn't been bent out or messed with at all. The liner and the lock face geometry is still perfect. There are actually thick washers in here from Skiffs, and I only have that in there because it feels very appropriate. As you can see, this thing still drops down to the nail and is very, very easy to deploy. And I think the thick washers just fit the build. I've tuned it and broken these washers into the point where I have basically no side to side, and up and down is beautiful, of course, because you have this V lock. So there's technically double the amount of surface area to lock up. So if you guys know a little bit about this, or maybe you don't, but discontinued Kaiser model, it just didn't sell too well because it's a little bit odd. You do have two different types of handle material. A lot of people don't care for that lack of symmetry, I suppose, but in hand, actually using the damn thing, this is a wonderful piece, and honestly, I wouldn't be too sad if it doesn't sell. So there is that. I will try to find the original bearings that come in here, but I will be including the Skiff thick washers. I'm going to leave them in there as is because I think that they are appropriately tuned for this kind of knife. All right, this next one is going to be this guy right here. This is the more premium Moyarl crossbar lock. You do have full PVD body except for the satin finish screws and crossbar lock itself. I do have Skiff bearings, ball bearings in here. If I can find the original bearings, I'll include them, but I don't really think it's necessary. So I'm just going to leave the Skiff bearings in here because the Skiffs actually helped me to get out as much of the side-to-side play as I could. Believe it or not, yes, this knife still has side-to-side play even after adding the Skiffs. If you guys have worked with Skiff bearings before, you know that they typically help and aid with side-to-side stability because of the way that they're constructed versus open face cage stamp bearing systems. These are solid bronze, brassy bronze cages. I guess a little bit more on the coppery side, but whatever. You know, they're brass cages. They're solid, and you know they have, you know, the ceramic balls riding in them. So you know it leads to a wonderful smooth buttery action. And there's essentially nothing wrong with this knife. It has seen some use. There aren't any marks on the right side here, but on the left side you will see a mark underneath the clip just because I've been carrying it right-handed because I'm a right-handed dominant individual. All the hardware is in excellent condition to my standards. This is in 14C28N blade material. I didn't mention this one was in 154CM, but I'm sure you guys could probably figure that out very easily yourselves. This has also been sharpened, and it has, I believe, a 18, 19, maybe a 17 degree edge. I will be, you know, making sure I know exactly what that is and put it in the listing, or at least a video that is linked in the listing, so you can just click and go watch it on my YouTube shorts. I did that with my last sale and the knives that I was selling, and it definitely helped out. So this blade is PVD coated, and PVD coating does not actually hold up to real world use. All this thing saw was cardboard, a little bit of plastic. So there's the tiniest bit of wear on the tip, but you will see in certain lights that the PVD coating is worn in some areas versus other, mainly in this section of the blade, which is a large part of it, and why this thing is going to be priced accordingly. So there is that right there. This piece right here, I'm sad to see it go because it's been in the collection for a long time. There's realistically no reason for me to get rid of it other than I just need some extra funds. That's all it is. This is none other than my Kooie titanium titty, the Titus. And it has been heavily modified. We have a flipper tab delete, an enlarged forward finger troll. It is very roomy, tailored to my hands. So, be, I guess conscious of that. I have large to extra large size hands, but I do have slimmer fingers, and this is a perfect fit to me because it's a modification that I did for me. So if you have large to extra large size hands but slimmer fingers, then you should be just fine. If you really want to like second knuckle it, if you don't, even if you have like thick sausage fingers, if you just one knuckle it, you got plenty of room and you'll be away from that edge there. Of course, this has been sharpened about 16 or 17 degree edge. It is very, very performance oriented, absolutely. And I've done the acid stone wash on this blade. The blade material is 14C28N. The handle and all the hardware is titanium. I've done a like a hand semi polish to the scales, and because of the diagonal like pinstripe milling that's on the contoured scales here, it gives a rather unique and interesting look, and it highlights a lot of the bevels and things that stand out. The hardware is a custom blurple, and I did my absolute best to match the clip. While the clip is a different finish, that's why it looks the way it does, but it does not have any scrapes or marks or anything. It is in perfect condition, as well as the rest of the knife. Essentially, the back spacers are steel, and I think I had to torch those, so they're a little like off color. They're like yellow and blue, but they fit the look overall, in my opinion. The only thing that is genuinely wrong with this knife, and this actually happened well before I did my modification, so this isn't really due because of my modifications, but there is a tiniest bit of detent lash. So if this is going to be appropriately priced, there was a lot of work that was put into this. There's also skiff bearings. As you can see, this thing is dangerously smooth. I actually can't even disengage it from straight up because it will come down and probably will take a good chunk of my nail there. So I do have to disengage it sideways and then let it drop, and it is perfectly centered, very smooth. Side to side stability is beautiful. Any sort of movement in the pivot, there is a tiny bit there, but that's just kind of how it was. This is one of Kooie's like first premium types of knives around the time that they were doing just OEM work, I suppose. But it's sad to see this go, but I'm sure somebody else will find a lot of joy in something like this. There's not much else to talk about it. If you're not one for modifications and you don't think that what I'm charging for this is worth it, then it's just not for you. So that's it. There is one other knife that is modified, and that is just an anodizing. So this is none other than my Kunw knives, compadre, and I want to share real quick that I do have almost all the original packaging. I am unfortunately missing the freaking vape juice bottle looking bullshit that they send with it. And I do have the little pouch as well, but the original stickers and card and the cloth unused, of course, it's in there. So there's that. This does not have skiff bearings. This is essentially all stock besides the anodizing job that I did myself. So this was a little bit of hand polishing just to really hit the tips of the diamond texture. And this is a very bright, very vibrant bronze. It will dull out with hand oils. It is just the nature of a lot of colors when it comes to anodization. You do have, of course, the premium touches of the Damascus pivot collars. That's standard. And the DLC finish. So this was originally a reverse tux, and this is definitely going to sell for a little bit less than brand new price, because even though it is in excellent condition and very well broken in, it is used. There are no marks or scrapes or bumps or really anything on it that I can tell. The only thing that I've noticed, and I've noticed this with many Kunw knives, for whatever reason, the black wash that they apply on their pivots don't last too well. I'm not sure why, but since having and owning this knife, the black wash finish on the T8 screw side, or the disassembly side of the knife, I guess to call it, it's been rubbed off a little bit from, I don't know, just writing in the pocket. This thing saw a lot of time in hand in the pocket, and it served me well, absolutely. The functions and everything's still perfect, perfectly centered, perfect action, nothing wrong with, the pivot system. It's a wonderful, wonderful little piece that is only made unique by it being anodized. That's really it. So I'm not charging any more because I anodize it, because in my perspective, anybody could anodize. What I do is nothing special. But when it comes to like any sort of grinding or blade finishes or things like that, that takes a little bit more finesse, and I do find value in that. So let's get to something else. This has been on the chopping block many times now. I've tried to sell this knife off, and I don't know why, but these sell so well off of retailers for full price. But when I try to sell this for $50 off and include bearings from skiffs and thick washers, it just sits there. So I'm going to do this again. I'm going to try to sell this damn Chavez Scapegoat in essentially perfect condition. You do have a satin finish blade. This has been carried. This has been used. This has been sharpened at least twice. So there are some minor scratches towards the first like inch and a half of the blade. You only really see them in the right light, but that is, of course, very common with satin finish blades that you actually use. So this currently has skiff thick washers, and as you can see, it is very, very easy to deploy. I don't have super buff, thumbs or fingers. This is Riot production quality, and skiffs is a match made in heaven. It just translates to such a buttery feel within a pivot of damn near every knife they've made. And I do have the original packaging, the stickers as well. Let's see. So here's a card. The skull clip has always been on it. It's in excellent condition. The regular plain clip has never been used, and I believe the stickers are underneath. So I will be, selling this knife off with skiff washers and bearings included, because I think that would be a pretty sweet deal. If I was hunting for a Chavez Scapegoat and I wanted to get it for less than brand new price, which brand new, this thing is $300, and I've been trying to sell it for around $250, about there or so, and I'm including washers and bearings from skiff. Yeah, I mean, I'm adding, and I'm basically like taking the hit financially speaking, because I'm selling this for less than brand new, because it's not brand new, and I'm also including extra goodies. Who doesn't like extra goodies? And if you're an action nut, well, you'll have the best of both worlds, of course. So, and the very last one, super sad to see this thing go, but I'm sure it'll go to a wonderful home, and I hope whoever buys this actually carries it and uses it, as ridiculous of a build as it is. Here you have a Microte MSI. One important thing to note is that this is a production run of the year 2023, so a little bit older technically, and month 9. So this does have the updated screw design that's visible for the stop pin and back here as well. The new ones actually have I believe is a T15 pivot that's access on both left and right side. From this year, it was only on the one side. So if you want to have this screw on that, you can do that. You can flip it if you want, just for visual purposes. But I have opted for Original Goat. This was their first production. I had to pre-order and wait forever for these freaking scales. So these scales are kind of rare because I don't believe they actually sell them. Now this is going to be an interesting listing because chances are a lot of people are going to ask for a huge discount on this knife if I can drop the scales. Or there's going to be people that just want to buy the scales separately. So I will put in the description what I'm asking for either or, but the listing will be as you see here. This originally was the FRN scaled one with, you know, the nice texturing. These scales are in immaculate condition, maybe a little bit dusty because when I got this knife, I actually carried it quite a bit and it was an absolute joy to carry. So this is really the only way that you can have lefty carry. These scales were optioned to have jimping here and as well as no lefty because obviously I'm right-handed and I'm the one that got this thing customized. So yes, again, titanium from Original Goat. The scales cost more than the damn knife itself. That's just how it is. That's just the reality of the situation. So when you see what I'm asking for this, really take into consideration what the knife is worth and what the scales are worth. And if you don't like that, then it's just a listing that's not for you. If you are interested in buying the scales off the knife, then I will have a price that is appropriately priced for this. If you're interested in that, of course, you'd have to message me. Don't just buy the listing and then message me later. I had somebody do that once where they bought a knife that I had put a lot of custom work into. They put it in their cart and they essentially like placed the order, but then told me that they didn't want the knife. Oh no, they just wanted the knife and they didn't want all the extra stuff that I had on it, and they wanted some like crazy discount. And I was like, that never, like, what? In no world or reality could that possibly make sense. And I guess their concern was that they saw it, they had money, and they got it, and they didn't have time to message me before and hope that I got to it, and maybe somebody would have bought it right away, whatever it was. I can't even remember what freaking knife it was. I just remember the situation. It was such a headache. I had to basically not refund, but cancel the order and then make a separate post just for this individual. And then it took a while to actually put in his card and place the order. And it was just a whole... The customer left happy and got what they wanted, and I made a sale, so I'm happy. But it was just a very not so courteous act. Selling on Blade Binge has been an absolute treat. I love working with them, and I'm very thankful to now have something to represent all the hard work I've put into promoting them for as many years as I have. I started very early on when they were just NAF sale, and obviously now they've changed their name. But I was one of the earliest sellers. I was one of the earliest buyers, and probably one of the earliest channels to promote them. But most people wouldn't know that because I got a small channel and it just is what it is. But for those who have been watching me for a long time and have purchased things from me, you know that I baby my stuff and that I am very particular when it comes to selling things. Things are appropriately and fair pricing, typically to move, but obviously not to give away. I'm trying to get money from selling these knives because I want to get other stuff or pay bills or just do what I got to do to obviously exist, but also continue being able to put out content. I've recently made some purchases that I probably shouldn't have, but I couldn't resist. And I know a lot of you guys can relate to that. So again, if anybody is interested in any of these, once you guys are seeing this video, the listings will already be up, and hopefully one of you wonderful individuals will be able to have a piece of the channel, whether it's something that's customized or not, or just used. Obviously, again, going back to the whole, whether you think customized or modified knives are worth more or less, doesn't really matter. I'm obviously an individual that loves stock things and loves to customize things. And typically, if I really, really love a knife, I want to make it unique and I want to make it special to me. And that's just kind of how I do my thing. So that's it. So if you guys like this video, go ahead and leave a like down below. If you are subscribed already, thank you so much. I appreciate all your support and your patience, of course. If you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing because I have plenty more videos and content coming your guys' way. With that being said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.